Then the women. I mean, they had the worst of it. They had the worst of it. They never got the river running down the trail, and they didn't have any intel. They didn't get radioed up and said, don't go the high line down the chute.
Yeah.
So that is horrible.
Yeah, insane. And then the first one is Ali. Oh, she's like second rider to drop or third rider to drop. She qualified semi-final 8th. So then she probably never in her wildest dreams expected to be walking away with the win.
No, there's no ways.
She would have been coming to this race, and she's had quite a tough season. Like, hasn't been going well by any means for her compared to other seasons where she's had like quite a few. Generally has a few podiums each year. So and she's been struggling a bit. And it's same with the men's. The level to get through to the semi-final is really hard because then you go to the 10 riders to the final. And then she just would have not had that expectation, so it's probably the best way to line up to a wet race like that. Like, I'll do what I can. And then she got down, she rode clean. And that's all she had to do. Looking at her splits, they were all pretty good, I think.
Yeah, but I wouldn't take away with how good the run was. Because some people might say, okay, so two ladies didn't crash, her being one of them.
Yeah.
It was the cleanest run. But it was also one of the most attacking, clinical runs in those conditions.
And
like,
getting
really
over the roots nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, she was
light over the roots and just like attacking it the whole way.
No, she was hauling.
Yeah. She probably didn't get scared by the rain. Because as soon as those hesitations come, if you touch a bit more brake, you're crashing. Like, you can't not. Or you just use all your energy, you're offline, and then you can't get back in your run.
Yeah.
So, and hats off to her. Like, her first win, she's been at it for 10 years. Those are the stories that I love to see from a wet race. Like, that's what makes it, like a wet race, it's an opportunity for everyone suddenly. Like, you can be just making that final, but suddenly you can win, And that's the best stories to take away from a mud race, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if she deep down believes she could win one after 10 seasons, and she has had multiple podiums, and then now coming back from injuries, and it's, as you said, it's been an horrendous season to her standards, probably. And she comes out with a win. I mean, that's so cool. And it just shows you never to give up, And the sport will knock you down probably more than it lifts you up. But when it lifts you up, it can lift you up really high. So that's that little carrot that gets dangled for these athletes.
Yeah.
And it's just so special. What a cool story. And Millie with her best result, not the cleanest run. She stayed up, but she looked really good, and she's historically done well in Leger. She historically does well when it's steep and technical as well. And hopefully she can build that confidence. Okay, I'm back on the podium, and take it to a track where maybe she doesn't normally excel. Would be really cool. But look, we have to, excuse me. Oh man, getting old and altitude is not good for me. Unfortunately 8 other ladies crashed. The conditions were that treacherous and sort of unpredictable in that last shoot. I mean, like Marine Cabarou's crash was horrific. I'm glad she's okay. And like, she was just trying to get down. She wasn't trying to push, didn't do anything silly, didn't have the information like, hey, back it off, go low. Just, it's survival down here. No one knew. They were like the test dummies, for lack of a better term. They were literally the test dummies. That's horrible.
Yeah. The worst case scenario, like, you've got no one's runs to watch beforehand. You've got no information from your track crew because it just started raining before they even started. Like, it literally, 20 minutes before maybe it just started raining. So
was it? What was the timing? When was it? Only 20 minutes before the finals of the ladies.
Maybe slightly more. It wasn't much though.
So there wasn't a drop of water on last practice run.
Last practice was insanely perfect. Like,
it's like, why even go up?
But you wouldn't, like, I don't know. You want to get the feeling on your bike, but then that doesn't quite help as well. It wouldn't help, like, because you get this like feeling of going really fast and being aggressive. Like, so that doesn't cross over to a wet run like that.
Yeah.
And then they had to just ride down and try and ride the lines that they thought's best. and you don't know how slippery that last thing is going to be, because it's all clay, but you're coming in there blind, like you don't know what you're going for. It's almost more of an enduro approach at that point, because you're like, it's a different track.
Yeah, I think you would know. You've raced both. I do think it is more of an enduro. Like, try figure out as you go, and the conditions could change throughout a couple hours of enduro as well. It's 100% a lottery. Such a lottery.
For sure.
You say, okay, let's feel out the conditions in the first few turns. That chute, I'm sorry.
And it's right at the bottom even too, so you've done all the work.
Yeah, even if the first turn was super slippery, you're like, well, this is horrendous. Let me get down and get to the chute. It's a lottery. It was a roll of the dice. Absolute roll of the dice. And probably one of the most frustrating ones to go down is Tani.
Yeah, that was a great run.
That run, no surprise. She grew up there in the region. Yep. You know how many runs she's done in the wet. She was out there riding a game. She's obviously moved back to Wales, but she was out there riding for 2 weeks leading into it, coming off the confidence of winning a race in also tough conditions. And you could see that was commitment. That was someone that knows maybe where the grip is. And then, that was all she wrote down the last chute. So she's got to be frustrated, but take so much confidence from this. Yeah,
you have to. You have to be slightly annoyed, but then also stoked. She was happy when I spoke to her for the interview. She still got third, so like, it's a good podium, like when you know you were riding so well, then a third you got to be pretty happy.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, still being in third is definitely like, that's a little bit of a silver lining for going down even with such fast splits. So yeah, you leave here pretty happy. If you got 6th, 7th, maybe more of a bitter pull. Miriam was good as well, like up until, especially in quali semi, and she had little stitches on her hand, but she seems to be really getting back to her old self, like looking good on the bike, talking with confidence, those sort of things,
It's good to see, and like she got stitched up on the side of the track so that she knew that she could go and do her qualifier or whatever. So like, props to her, and also props to the medical team who actually
on the side of the track, they
have the anesthetic and everything.
Did they put a little injection in? Oh, they had to. They did stitch.
Yeah, they did everything on the side of the track. I'm like, that's not very common, and I've not seen that at many races.
No.
Yeah. So props to her, and then like dealing with, it's just a little finger, but it still gets pretty annoying, and especially in a mud race, you're like, I don't want to put it down. It's a little more in your mind,
Oh, absolutely. Riding injured. They often say, beware the injured rider, but depending where that cut is, you can definitely, you could feel it, or it could affect grip strength, like all those sort of things are super, super tough. And Vali still managed to get on the podium. She just got unstuck in that last. There's like not much you can do there. You can try break a little bit more. Like, you have to eventually commit to get through the turn.
Well, it's really blind coming over that crest where that little stump was.
Yeah.
And if you come over just slightly on the wrong angle, you're not lined up with the rut. So you don't see the rut till you've gone over the crest, but then it's too late. And you ideally want to just slot into the rut, especially in the wet. You have to slot into the rut. So you're slightly 1 or 2 degrees off. You're going to hit the rut on an angle or hit the corner on an angle. You slide. You're done. It's like not much of a real mistake. And again, like, you can't do much at that point. But she took it pretty well, actually. She was like, she really celebrated the finish for Ali, so it was quite cool to see.
Oh, awesome.
And it showed how much Vali has grown into being the racer and person she is now.
Yeah.
Because 1 or 2 years ago, she would have just been out of that finish area faster than they could cut the timing chip off.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the conditions and expectations of how that run could have gone helped. If often she's been so lead favorite to win a race and then crashes near the end. Yeah, but I mean, still frustrating because she got a lot of all the hard work done. Yeah, it's sort of the last turn on the track, then there's the straightaway, which is so sketchy anyway. Like, there's off-camber bits, and then even the tar road, you're kind of going over the tar road straight. That looks sketchy. And then the last berm's not steep enough, and that's clay.
Horrible.
Yeah, I was just like, Amaury, please don't crash in this last turn.
Yeah. But no, it was props to Valley, and she's controlling that overall pretty well. Tani's closer now, so that's cool. I hope it becomes a nail biter, but I'm not sure. Like, I think Valley and Loic are managing the overalls pretty well so far. So